Once you are real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always. Marjorie Williams writing in her wonderful children's classic, The Velveteen Rabbit, written and published in 1927. It was a magical tale about all those wonderful things we believed in at this time of the year. It was Charles Dickens who said there seems a magic in the very name of Christmas. This hour, what a real Christmas means to those young enough to believe that there is a very real magic to the season, and to those young at heart who never stopped believing. For as long as I can remember, the story of Frosty the Snowman has been told and retold, even updated, with new adventures for the snowman and his friends to get into. In one version of the original story, some children meet their friends on a snowy winter's day and decide to build the biggest snowman ever, but they would need stuff from around their homes to make him seem real. Some pieces of coal for the eyes and a button for the nose, a big purple scarf, and Paul remembered the corncob pipe he'd used last Halloween. Matt and Jenny found an old pair of boots in their closet. They saw Mariah playing with the best thing of all. She had helped Mother clean out the attic and had found a black silk top hat, perfect for their snowman. After the snowman was made and decorated, it was Jenny who decided on a name, Frosty. As they danced around their creation, it was little Mariah who made a wish. I wish Frosty were alive so he could play with us. And with that, he winked at her. He really was alive. That night, all the kids couldn't wait to tell their parents about Frosty. A snowman who walks, talks, dances, and sleds? Well, you can just imagine the parents believing their children had wild imaginations than an actual snowman becoming real. But he was real in the eyes of those who made him. All it took was a mild spell and a little rain for Frosty to disappear. When the children took their dad to the park to see how the snowman fared, all they found was the hat and a little pile of snow. Mariah picked up the hat sadly, and then their father smiled. Look, he said, under Frosty's hat. He's left you a sign that he'll be back next year. And sure enough, there it was. A tiny little flower, just the color of Frosty's purple scarf, had pushed up through the snow. It almost seemed to smile and say, "See you next year." One time when becoming real depended on the weather, and not really the magic of the season. There once was a Velveteen rabbit, and in the beginning he was really splendid. He was fat and bunchy, as a rabbit should be. His coat was spotted brown and white. He had real thread whiskers, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, when he sat wedged in the top of the boy's stocking with a sprig of holly between his paws, the effect was charming. There were other things in the stocking, nuts and oranges, and a toy engine, and chocolate almonds, and a clockwork mouse. But the rabbit was quite the best of all. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him, and then aunts and uncles came to dinner, and there was a great rustling of tissue paper and unwrapping of parcels, and in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten." End quote. And so begins one of the truly original Christmas stories of our time. A story about what it really takes to become real. The boy forgot the rabbit for a while, but eventually the rabbit becomes the boy's favorite companion. Marjorie Williams, the author of this Christmas classic, goes on to write, and again I quote, "The little rabbit grew very old and shabby. He, the boy, loved him so hard that he loved all his whiskers off, and the pink lining to his ears turned gray, and his brown spots faded. He even began to lose his shape, and he scarcely looked like a rabbit anymore, except to the boy. To him he was always beautiful, and that was all the little rabbit cared about. He didn't mind how he looked to other people, because the nursery magic had made him real. And when you are real, shabbiness doesn't matter." Well, the little boy gets sick with scarlet fever, and the doctor thinks that the old tattered plaything may be part of the reason why he is not getting well. So the little rabbit is to be destroyed, and a new one takes his place. They eventually throw the old rabbit outside, and the bunny sheds a tear. And a strange thing happened, for where the tear had fallen, a flower grew out of the ground, a mysterious flower, not at all like any that grew in the garden. And presently the bloom opened, and out of it there stepped a fairy. "I am the nursery fairy," she said. "I take care of all the playthings that children have loved. When they are old and worn out and the children don't need them anymore, then I come and take them away with me and turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." She takes him to the woods and makes him as real as all the other wild rabbits. End quote. But the story is far from over. The conclusion shortly. As author Marjorie Williams says in the conclusion of her tale of the Velveteen Rabbit, and again I quote, "Autumn passed, and winter, and in the spring when the days grew warm and sunny, the boy went out to play in the wood behind the house, and while he was playing, 2 rabbits crept out from the bracken and peeped at him. One of them was brown all over, but the other had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been spotted, and the spots still showed through. 'Why, he looks like my old bunny that was lost when I had scarlet fever.' But he never really knew that it really was his own bunny, come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real." End quote. Wonderful story for those who ever wonder what happened to their old playthings, lost on the long journey to adulthood. I found something in another wonderful book. Sarah Von Brannock, from her bestseller, Simple Abundance, a daybook of comfort and joy, a Warner book published in 1995. She takes us back in that story by Marjorie Williams when she writes, and I quote, "For a long time, the bunny remained just another plaything in the nursery, but he didn't mind, because he was able to carry on long philosophical discussions with the old skin horse, who was very old, wise, and experienced in the strange ways of nursery magic. One of the rabbit's favorite topics of conversation was on becoming real. Here is the heart of Marjorie Williams' mystical tale of the transformative power of love. The Velveteen Rabbit. The Skin Horse patiently explained to the bunny that real isn't how you are made. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. Marjorie Williams goes on to write, "Becoming real doesn't happen overnight to toys or people. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. In order for toys to become real, they must be loved by a child. In order for us to become real, we must become lovers of real life in all its complexity and uncertainty. Like the Velveteen Rabbit, we long to become real, to know what authenticity feels like. Sometimes this hurts. The thought of losing our whiskers and having our tail come unsewn is frightening. In a world that judges by appearances, it's embarrassing having all the paint rubbed off your nose. The Velveteen Rabbit isn't alone in wishing to become real without any uncomfortable or unpleasant things happening. One of the ways that we become real without too much discomfort is by growing gradually into our authenticity. As you learn to acknowledge, accept, and appreciate what it is that makes you different from all the other toys in the cupboard, the process begins. As you learn to trust the wisdom of your heart and make creative choices based on what you know is right for you, process becomes progress. As you learn to endow even the smallest moment of each day with love, progress becomes reality perfected. Your black button eyes might have lost their polish, but now these windows to the soul see only beauty. You become not only real to those who know and love you, but real to everyone. You become authentic." End quote. Sarah Vaughan Brannock in Simple Abundance, a daybook of comfort and joy. I hope you will look for the Chicken Soup for the Soul Holiday Collection Christmas in Canada. Reasonably priced and available in bookstores across Canada and around the world via Amazon.com. My original Christmas story about mysterious visitors is on page 279. Eugene Field wrote, "The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and staunch he stands, and the little toy soldier is covered with rust, and his musket molds in his hands." Time was when the little toy dog was new, and the soldier was passing fair. And that was the time when our little boy Blue kissed them and put them there. The story of the Rainbow Bridge has given so many hope that one day they will be reunited with all the pets they lost over a lifetime. This story by Marjorie Williams gives us hope that all those little stuffed bunnies missing an eye or two and threadbare teddy bears we loved as children will be made real after their use in the nursery is no longer needed. When you're in the garden during spring and summer, watch for the appearance of a shy little creature peering out at you from between the flowers. If you believe in magic, you just might be in the company of an old friend. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.